we'll just go on and get going. Is that okay with you, Paul?
That's good to me.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to end up I am recording this, so it will be on the website at some point in time, as well as all of the training that hopefully you guys did with KI last month. But let me share my screen, and I'm going to bring up this very beautiful PowerPoint. If it will, there it is. Oh, look at me, go ahead. Look at me falling ahead here. Okay, I have to get used to this with people on my screen.
And hello to Ola.
Hi, Ola. Paul, if you want to get going, feel free to get going.
Okay, well, I'd like to welcome everybody to the session. This is because of the virus and virtual training. This is an experiment for everybody, and I suppose we will see how it goes. This is the MOARC session, and I hope everybody did the KI virtual training session before. So, next slide. Can I do the slides? Next. Mary, you're on mute.
So I think Paul needs the next slide.
Yes. Okay, so there are three of us doing the presentation. I'm the master trainer for MOARC. My official title is Leadership Education Chair. Barb Thompson is here to help. And of course, she's past governor and membership chair and wears lots of hats. And Mary Vaughn is our district secretary. So welcome. Next slide.
I think I made you a co-host. Maybe you can move the slides too. I don't know if that helps.
I've tried. I don't know. I don't know how to do that.
Okay, well, I'll keep moving. I'll move them for you then. Just let me know when you're ready.
Okay,
Yeah, I think he has to be sharing his screen, but I'm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't. You just made me co-host, and I can't.
Okay.
Advance.
Well, I'll keep moving it.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is Missouri, Arkansas District. And so, of course, we're going to go through the district leadership and volunteers, president's duties, membership information, including dues, invoicing, tax filing. We're going to cover the websites, especially the MOARC website, and membership recognition, distinguished club guidelines, giving guidelines, and World Service Project. Next. Okay, the basic manual this year is a leadership guide. I hope everybody knows that Kiwanis consolidated all of the leadership guides and books that we used to use into one this year, which is the 2020 Leadership Guide. They are available from your lieutenant governor. Every club is supposed to receive 5 copies. That's 1 for each of the officers, president, president-elect, secretary, treasurer, and the membership committee chairperson. They can be downloaded from the CLE page, CLE Club Leadership Education, right? Has a page on the MOARC website, which is moarckiwanis.net. And it's under the district information menu item. But if you're into tinyURL, there's a direct link to that page. Both Mary Vaughn and I have additional copies, so if you need them from us, we can help you. Next slide. Okay, so this is our leadership for 2020 and 21. I think everyone knows that AC Paxton is our governor designate, and Carla O'Brien was elected governor-elect at the House of Delegates. So Ron Hill is our immediate past governor, and Mary Bond is the secretary of MOARC, and Robin Asher is our treasurer. Next slide. Here's this division map, which comes in handy. We have 26 divisions and 9 regions. And so here, this is on the website. So of course, all of this information is available on the website. If you would like to, look at, you can, it's available to look at anytime you want. Next slide. Here's our list of district trustees for 20 through 23. You can see we have a pretty good group of people who are involved in making the MOARC district function. Next slide. Okay, so here's our list of lieutenant governors. I think you can assume that anytime you see a slot that's marked vacant, that there are people out there looking for people to fill that slot. We try to use CLE to identify people who have potential to do more in the organization. If you have skills you'd like to share with Kiwanis, please let somebody know. Your lieutenant governor is a good person to talk to, or Mary Bond would like to hear from you. Next slide. Okay, so 26 divisions, and there's the rest of them. So next slide. Okay, we also have people who volunteer to do all sorts of things for Missouri-Arkansas District. These are the people who are the leaders of the service leadership programs, and their contact information is available on the website. Next slide. Okay, here's our committee chairs, and you can see that I'm a web administrator when I'm wearing my other hat. I'm the MOARC webmaster, but we do have lots of people and a few vacant slots that we'd like to fill. Next slide. These are more key positions. Leadership development coordinator is my official title, but you can see there are lots of people who help make MOARC go. Next slide.
Oh, sorry. Trying to send an email. I hit the wrong button.
How about that? Barb, is this your slide?
No, I'm not sure where. I think it was yours, but
Okay,
It was yours, Paul.
it came.
When we usually when you sign up for a CLE session, we have you write your name, division and club name. But when KI did the virtual one, they put down district, and we were surprised to discover how many people didn't know what district they were in. So of course, our district is Missouri-Arkansas District, and we abbreviate it MOARC. Hope everybody knows that. So, okay, there's the clubs at the top, and then divisions, right, headed by the lieutenant governor. In MOARC, we have regions, 9 regions that are headed by trustees. Okay, and then we come to the Missouri-Arkansas District, which in Kiwanis language is K14. And finally, Kiwanis International, which I hope everybody knows is headquartered in Indianapolis. Next slide.
Paul, could I interrupt for just a minute?
Sure.
If you go back to that last slide, Mary, this is a slide from Kiwanis International. And so they don't show the trustees, but Paul mentioned them. And they're kind of in between the division and the district, although not in terms of order. They are there to support the division, and they are there to do planning for the district. They're like we always need a team of people who are looking out into the future and trying to figure out our needs for the future. So they're the ones that do the business of the district. And we're very lucky to have them. I remember when I was lieutenant governor, and we would be so involved in budget, but we didn't have the history, whereas the trustees last for 3 years. And so they have a history, and that enables them then to do some planning for the future. So they're not on the picture.
And they're also our board of directors. So they work with the governor and the elected officers to oversee the district.
Right. And they do the business of the district, just like
Right.
the club board does for the club.
Correct.
Thank you. So so club presidents. So one of the things that club presidents are tasked with doing is appointing committee chairs. And if you wait until October 1st to appoint your committee chairs, then you're going to be behind. I hope you attended the KI session, and at that time, they recommended that club presidents appoint their committees by July 15th. And they asked that the committee chairs select the members by August 1st. Depending on the size of your club, that will determine how many committees you need. It is recommended in the standard form for bylaws that you have a membership committee and a service committee, possibly have fundraising under service, but possibly not, and a finance committee. So those are probably the minimum. Many clubs have more than that. You might have a risk management committee or just a representative, but you might have an interclub committee. I'm just trying to think of some of the normal committees that clubs also have. But at the training that KI gave, and in your leadership guide on page 21, it talks about having the president's planning conference by September 30th. To do that, you may have to call an additional meeting. I know some clubs have their planning conference as one of their regular meetings. And if you have really busy people, I guess everybody has really busy people in their clubs because really busy people do a lot of things. You might want to use a club meeting to have the president's planning conference. But it's on page 21 in your leadership guide what the purpose is. And one of the purposes of the planning conference is to review Kiwanis International district and division goals for the club and incorporate these into the club's goals. So figuring out how you're going to do that. Kiwanis International has a strategic plan. So if you're trying to match that, that would affect you. And in their strategic plan this year, they've added a new pillar, which is leadership and education. So you might add that pillar to your strategic plan. Our district governor designate is A.C. Paxton, who will become governor and serve with you during your year as president. He has one goal that he's talking about, and it's 3 words: membership, membership, membership. And he has a plan, and that's called Each One Reach One, which he is going to roll out. So as you have your planning conference, you need to really focus on membership to help achieve the district goal. I don't know what your division goals will be. probably they'll align with the district goals and the Kiwanis International goals. The division I'm in, usually the thing that we do as a division is a service project, so it will all depend on what you're doing. On page 21 in your leadership guide, it talks about this planning conference, and however you manage to have it, it really helps strengthen you, because also you know that it's recommended by the end of October that you adopt your budget. So that would be something that you could discuss at the planning conference and help that move along. Lots of times if you have a longtime treasurer, the longtime treasurer will have a template and an idea about the budget that'll be very helpful. Also, there's a monthly checklist for the president and for the secretary and for the treasurer that are available on the Club Leadership Education page that Paul showed you on the district website, and it's also on Kiwanis.org under member resources. And Mary is going to, in her part of the presentation, show you how to get there. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Kiwanis.org website and how to get to member resources, but a lot of the things that you'll need are there. Next slide. Some more responsibilities to work, and this is from page 16 of the leadership guide, to work closely with the board of directors and committee chairs to establish and follow a strategic plan. And I want to caution you about spending too much time on that. So I don't know how much detail you want to go into with a strategic plan, but if you spend half the year writing your strategic plan, you're never going to get to it. So I recommend just following the 5 pillars and a goal for each pillar. And again, remember that AC's goal is membership, membership, membership. You also will set goals for improving the members' club experience and increase the club's impact in the community by adding new members. So actually, all of those kind of tie together to membership, 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 because improving the club experience will help us retain members, and then adding new members, of course, will keep our members. No, we'll add to our members, sorry. And then the number 1 qualification on page 16 of the leadership guide is that you empower and inspire members. And I think that is kind of freeing for club presidents, because sometimes as you come into a leadership role like that, you think, oh my gosh, I have to have all the answers. And whenever I think, oh my gosh, I have all the answers, then I realize I have no answers and we're in deep trouble. So by empowering and inspiring members, then they have the answers, and usually they have better answers. So at least for me. So these are some suggestions for you, and also tailored to MOARC. AC's phrase is membership, membership, membership. Next slide. This is the membership classes and the dues. When you pay dues every year, we pay $77 to Kiwanis International. And have you ever wondered what the $77 is? So $52 is actually the dues, and that goes to support the organization. And sometimes we feel grumpy and say, I don't know what I'm getting out of that $52. But really, when you think about it, they provide a lot of support for, first of all, our service leadership programs, which are, you know, I've heard people say if we didn't do anything else, that would make our organization worthwhile just to do the service leadership programs, because as we work with youth and see their leadership growing, we know that that's important and that's affecting the future. They also provide a lot of other support along with that, with like the foundation, and they've been providing a lot of webinars and lunch with a leader with a lot of suggestions about how to keep going throughout the COVID-19 pandemic and the sheltering in place. And so there's a lot of support that we get for that $52. $8 is for the magazine. And if you have husbands and wives in your club, make sure that one of them claims the magazine credit, unless they both want to have their own copy of the magazine. But that way it saves them that $8. Some husbands and wives like to get both, and one leaves them in a doctor's office or something like that. Although doctor's offices are not accepting things like that at this moment, but I know that a lot of people do take their magazines to some public place, doctor's office, barber's shop, so that people can read about Kiwanis and all the neat things that we do. $17 is insurance, and 13 of that goes for liability insurance, which is really important for all of our activities, and $4 is for directors and officers insurance, and that protects the club and it protects the individuals in the club. It protects the directors and officers, of which you are one. In case you make a decision that turns out badly, you're protected by that insurance. It protects the club the same way. And then $20 goes to MOARC. So that's $97. It's up to your club board to decide what club dues you will charge in addition, if any. My club previously was in a restaurant where we had an extremely good deal. And so we got the lunch for $8 and we charged $10. And so we didn't really charge any club dues because we used the extra money from the lunches. But whatever you charge is club dues. Corporate is the same price as regular. Spouse, I recommended that you claim the $8 credit. Life membership costs $15 times the yearly dues of Kiwanis International. You have to have a three-year minimum. And so if you have life members, they get a $52 credit on their dues. If you are that Kiwanis member's home club, if the Kiwanis member belongs to more than one club, which some people do, they only get the credit in their what is called their home club. Honorary members, $8 for magazine, and actually honorary members are not listed as members in Kiwanis International. So if you want to give somebody a magazine subscription for honorary, that's up to you. If you sign up someone who's formerly belonged in Key Club or Circle K, they get 2 years of dues credit for MOARC and KI. They still have to pay for insurance and magazine. Next slide. New member ad fee is $50 for KI and $20 for MOARC. That's what you pay the first year that a member joins. It is waived for former SLP members is waived for former SLP members, right?
What is SLP?
Pardon?
What is SLP?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that. That means Service Leadership Program, and that is all of our the clubs that we sponsor, such as Circle K, Key Club, Builders Club, K Kids, and Kiwanis International waives the new member ad fee for any former SLP members.
Isn't it just Key Club and Circle K?
You know, that's the gray area. They're not able to track former Builders Clubs or K Kids.
Right.
So I've never had somebody ask that. You know, I was in Builders Club but not in Key Club. Would I still have that? And I've never done that. So I think you're probably right, Mary, because they can't go back and verify.
Right.
So, and this year we have a wonderful, wonderful waiver for any new members who join actually since April 22nd. They don't have to pay the new member fee for either Missouri, Arkansas are Kiwanis International. Kiwanis International passed that at their April board meeting, and they asked the districts to follow suit, which Missouri, Arkansas did. And then there is another another wonderful bonus that Mary's going to explain at the end. Correct, Mary?
Well, do you want me to explain it now?
Yeah, go ahead now. That's great.
At the board meeting on Friday, Governor Ron suggested that for every new member that is brought in between August the 1st and September 30th, that not only are they free during that period of time, but the district is going to pay the club for their membership dues for international and for MOARC, that $97, they're going to pay that to the club to pay for that member's membership for all of next year.
I thought it was till September 25th.
Oh, September 25th. I'm sorry, Barbara, you keep correcting me on that and I keep forgetting. We
okay.
talked about September 30th and then we said till September 25th, because the thing is, he wants to take it out of this year's money that we've saved by not having conventions. So we're going to, any new members that register between now and September 25th, the district will send that club a check for $97 for the new member, so that the club can actually pay the new members dues for 2021.
Right. Thank you, Mary. So if those of you who are club secretaries, it will be vital for you to get the new member entered by September 25th if you want the $97. The other thing is that you probably need to talk to your club board about whether they want to charge club dues, whether there'll be any dues at all, or will the new member just be free from today until September 30th of 2021. Yeah. So those are two considerations, but it'll be really important for the members to be added by September 25th.
I strongly encourage everyone to take advantage of that, because our big concern is we don't know what membership is going to do between now and October. And then of course, we don't know what all the clubs are going to do for members if we lose a lot of members before the beginning of the new year.
So that's one reason that we're really encouraging clubs at this time to be meeting virtually, either using some platform like Zoom or GoToMeeting or Google Meet or something like that. Or if you're not comfortable with that, but you are comfortable with phone calls, you can get a free conference call number from freeconferencecall.com. But we need to stay in contact, and clubs are coming up with amazing creative ways of doing non-contact service and non-contact fundraising. And so we probably need to put some of those up on the website, because there are lots of ways that we can do those things. Okay, next slide. So this is a sample schedule of club dues invoicing. It's just a sample because I know some clubs actually bill quarterly or bill twice a year. But if you're only billing once a year, here's a sample schedule for dues invoicing. By August 1, your annual dues need to be set in your club bylaws. So if you decide to change your dues for any reason, you need to send it in club bylaws. And I ask why, because you have to remember to do that. And the answer is so that there's a record somewhere of what the dues are. And amazingly, I said, well, everybody would remember. But just this year, I'm secretary of my home club. Just this year, 2 people emailed me and said, can you tell me how much I paid in dues last year and when? Because I need it for my taxes. And so people don't remember how much the dues are. And, and if you there are people who belong to more than one club, and I didn't really realize that, but now I do. And I can't remember what the dues are for both clubs. So there we go. So by August 15th, Secretary issues invoices to members. And I did get an invoice today for another club that I'm a member of, so they're already going out. I always try to make ours due by September 15th or 20th to give me time to send out friendly reminders so I get them by September 30th, because then by that date you need to suspend non-payers, and secretaries drop suspended non-payers. Now, there's a little bit of a grace period on that, but another thing that I wanted to make really clear to you is that any new member that you want to get paid for has to be in by September 25th, and any new member, even if you don't want that money, has to be in by September 30th. If you wait till October to add them, then they're a member for next year. So all of these waivers don't apply.
Right.
On October 1st, Kiwanis International freezes the roster, and I think they do that to make sure they capture all the new members. But they open it back up around the 5th of October, and you can drop additional members between October 5th and 10th. Anybody who's not dropped by October 10th, you pay for. The first couple years that I was secretary, there were people who said, oh yeah, I'm going to pay, no, you know, definitely want to be a member, keep me on, blah, blah, blah. And I did, and they didn't ever pay. So the second year, the board threatened to kill me, and so I stopped doing that.
We're glad they didn't.
So, you hate to do that, but you have to. I also would recommend that you do keep the secretary and treasurer, the secretary issuing invoices and collecting the check, and then recording it and getting it to the treasurer. That two-person checks and balances is really valuable. Again, we've had somebody who said, well, I gave it to so-and-so before September 30th and you dropped me and now I'm mad, but you just have to, this is something that just requires a lot of paperwork and careful record keeping and real clarity on the invoices. Thank you. Next slide, Mary. And I think that's
Paul.
Paul.
All right, so let's remind everybody of the IRS requirements. Kiwanis clubs are required to Form 990N. For most clubs whose year starts October 1st, it's due February 15th. If you fail to file for 3 years, the IRS can revoke your tax exemption. Then you have to file and pay fees to get reinstated. So it's very important to make sure you take care of this detail. It's a relatively simple form. You could do it electronically these days. And basically, they just want to know your current contact information. Next slide. There are similar requirements in the state with the Secretary of State. In Missouri, we file every other year, and the $25 fee can be filed online. In Arkansas, they still require an annual filing. If you fail to file, they can basically cancel your incorporation. So then you have to file to get reinstated. Next slide.
Paul, could I ask a question?
Sure.
The leadership guide seems, doesn't seem to, indicates that the secretary is supposed to do those two things, but in some clubs it's the treasurer. So if you're coming into a new position as secretary or treasurer, you need to find out who has done that and whose responsibility it is within your club.
Yeah, I think that another thing is the invoicing. It just depends on how people in your club want to do it, as long as you make sure it gets taken care of. Next slide. Okay, one of the new developments is Kiwanis International is going to drop Portal Buzz at the end of next year. And as part of that transition, they're now offering free websites for clubs. So if you send your application to me, or send me an email, I can send you the forms that you fill out to get started. They will give you a sample website, which you then modify to meet your club's requirements. They have training online to help you get started. And all of this is from Kiwanis International at no cost. So you can see a summary of the features. It's a pretty good system. I think so far we have 3 clubs in Moark that are setting up to use it. But because, of course, it's free, it's a good thing to know about. Next slide. Okay, here's a summary of the Moark website, which is moarkkiwanis.net. We have all kinds of information on there on every subject you can think of. It's a very good place to go if you're looking for information. We have the site indexed, so even if things are buried in strange folders, you can still find it, we hope. But anyway, there's a news column. We have information about the district officers and contacts, conventions, foundations, scholarships, programs, key leader, tax exempt guidelines, and membership and dues. So there's a lot there. Hopefully what you're looking for is covered. If not, then you have to ask Mary, because she's the one who has all the answers.
Oh, right.
Next slide. Okay, we, as part of the Moark website, we have a CLE page, club leadership education, and you can reach it directly with a tiny URL address there, or it's under the district information menu item. We have a list of certified trainers. We have about 25 volunteers who help do training and are certified. They are out there. We try to have them in every division. So if you have questions about, Secretary's dashboard or some detail, those people are there to help you. Feel free to contact them. And we also have, when you go to CLE training in person, we usually have all sorts of handouts from various aspects. Those are available to download. The CLE PowerPoints and the leadership guide is also available there. Next slide. This is a list of the kinds of handouts that you can find on the CLE page. You can see things that we have non-denominational invocations. There's information on the Les Mace Fellowship, examples of meetings, basic kinds of information that comes in handy. Next slide. Here's more of them. Okay, and there's our address again, and here's the PowerPoints we have. Youth protection guidelines, a leadership guide, samples of annual budgets that some clubs use, and all kinds of practical information. Next slide. Moark has a Facebook group page, and this is a basic address. If you search for it, you have to spell out Missouri, Arkansas, but it does come up. And basically, I pretty much take care of it, but Mary and other people post things. It's public board. People can, almost anybody can post things there if they want to. But what we try to use it for is to share what clubs are up to, club activities, event flyers, fundraisers, community service, awards, donations, things like that. Anything that's good news, Kiwanis, we'd like to put it up there. So, you know, feel free to post it or send it to me and I will make sure it gets there. Next slide.
Okay,
Okay,
before,
the Kiwanagram is our, MOARC newsletter. Diane Baker takes care of it. It gets published 6 times a year as a PDF these days, and it gets posted on the MOARC webpage, so you can look at the past issues if you want to. Here's the information for contacting Diane. She likes things that have photos in them and would like to have the information about 2 weeks before the issue is to be issued. So, next slide.
okay, Paul, I was going to go into this, but I'm going to take a break right now from this to show everybody where the, how to get to the web page for Kiwanis. For Kiwanis, the Kiwanis website, if you guys have ever gone out there, this is what it looks like. I'll bring up the main page. When you actually go to
Mary,
Kiwanis,
we still have the slide presentation up.
oh, do you really? I thought I took
Yeah.
it down. Hang on a second. Huh. I don't know, because it's not on my screen,
Uh-oh.
so I'm not quite sure. Oh, it says it's paused. I don't know how to do all this stuff.
Maybe you could
Bear
do it
with me.
at the end.
Is that better?
There, yep, there we are. There we are.
Okay. This is the Kiwanis.org. If you decide you want to go out and see what's out there, there's all kinds of things out on the Kiwanis.org website. To get to, it's got a lot of information in here, but the page I go to the most is up here in the right-hand corner on this menu bar. It says Member Resources. If you go to the Member Resources, it drops down and gives you a lot of information. And if you go to the training page, then it comes down and gives you training information for just a Kiwanis member, a club leader, club committees, risk management, and then it even goes on to the division and district level. But if you go where it says club leader, that's where you'll get to your president education, secretary education, treasurer, board member, and then there's a copy of the leadership guide out here. So I think that's what Barbara wanted you all to know early on,
Right.
of how to get to all of these things.
Exactly. So click on either club president or club secretary or treasurer. Yeah, click on that. And if you see down at the bottom, that's where you can get your monthly to-do list, the distinguished criteria, club bylaws. There's a lot of information there. And sometimes you're just, like the installation of club officers in script, that's there. So there's a lot of good information there. Thank you, Mary, for doing that.
And the same with the secretary.
Right.
Because that, you know, that's a big job. And as you can see, the secretary's got a lot of links. So anything that the secretary needs, whether it's online reporting or any of those things, minutes, new member applications, everything's right here for the secretary to get to. And, you know, the treasurer, the board member, the leadership guide, everything's out there easily at your disposal.
Right. And the club treasurer also has that monthly to-do list. Those are really helpful because I'll think about one that always happens in my home club is that we get to May and we go, oh, we need to have elections. Oh, we should have had a slate. Oh, that needed to be due. That needed to be done 3 months ago.
That's right. That's right.
So,
it's easy to forget. There's a lot of
yeah.
stuff to have to remember.
Yeah. So that monthly checklist is really helpful.
Okay, so we'll go back to our PowerPoint.
Mary,
Yes?
one thing you might point out though, if you have to sign on to the
Oh, right.
Kiwanis.org to get a lot of the resources. A number of them you can get on just by being a guest, but to get to a lot of the leadership stuff, you have to have an account and sign on.
Well, yeah, you need to have Kiwanis Connect is the system that we use, and that's where the secretary dashboard is. But even a member can set up their own account. They just have to go in and put in their email address and set up a password. And you can get to all kinds of things that way. But I think on the, a lot on the, what's on the web, excuse me, a lot of the things that are on the web are pretty easily accessible.
Right. I think everything, Mary talked about that menu bar. I always call it the black bar up at the top, which is a very technical
Yeah,
term.
blocked up, yeah.
But that's, if you go to member resources, those you don't have to sign in to get. So, yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about member recognition, and I think this is probably one of the most important parts, that you as a leader of your club and whatever role that you're in, member recognition is so important, because you know, these people are all volunteers and they're out there busting their butt trying to serve their community and do their thing. And it's really good to recognize them and to make them feel appreciated. So some of the things that we have out there, Barbara talked earlier about the life member status. That's some way you can appreciate a member, especially somebody that really works hard. The club could actually pay for that member. Legion of Honor, we have that on another slide, but the Legion of Honor is a recognition for any member that has been in Kiwanis over 20 years or 25 years. Then they start getting recognized as a Legion of Honor member. And, you know, with that, they can get a certificate and a pin and different things. The Ruby K pin is if a member invites 5 or more new members. They don't just invite them, they actually sign them on. 5 or more new members, they get a Ruby K, and you can get a Ruby K for every denomination of 5. So if somebody's got 25, they could have 5 Ruby K pins. That doesn't always happen, but that could. Of course, a Distinguished Member Award, that comes from KI and MOARC offer this as a recognition for a person that brings in new members into the club, and they get recognized as a distinguished member. Kiwanis Children's Fund has ways you can recognize your members with the Hickson, which is really a nice award. And the club can make a contribution of $1,000 to the Children's Fund and award the member with the Hickson. Another way is the Walter Zeller Fellowship, which has been very popular with definitely with MOARC and for Kiwanis, that a club can pay $12.50 to the Eliminate Project and get a Zeller and give it to a member. What's really good is that MOARC has been offering $250 matching funds. If the club can come up with $1,000, we'll pay the $250 and you'll be able to get a Zeller. So we still have that for this year. I don't think, we haven't decided for next year yet, but definitely there's money in the budget, and Roger Jesperson is the person that generally takes care of that. But if you're interested in any of that information, you can call me. I am not familiar with the Harold Martin Fellow, but it is available through Key Club in the Youth Opportunities Fund for $250. There's the Carthage Pullman Society Fellow, and that's available through Circle K for $250. And then the Sapphire Circle Honorary Fellow is available for $1,000 to Circle K's Tomorrow Fund. So there are a lot of recognition available. And of course, I already said something about the Legion of Honor. A person can get a lapel pin and a certificate. As a matter of fact, we're actually having a ceremony for somebody that's been in our club for 50 years. And so he's getting a Legion of Honor, a lapel pin, and some special recognition later this month. So, you know, that's always good. And you can find a lot of this information in the leadership guide on page 62. And I don't think it's 62 to 23. It's probably 62 and 63. So
Right.
I apologize. That's a typo. But if you can find it on 23, good luck.
Right. And one thing about the Legion of Honor, Mary, if I can add,
Sure.
I thought that Kiwanis International would notify me when there
No.
was, no. So
They
the
do
club
not.
secretary has to go in to, you can download the member directory as an Excel sheet, and there will be a column where it says what year they joined. And
Right.
that's how you figure it out. And then you order the certificate from the Kiwanis International store and the lapel
Correct.
pin. So
Yes. Yes, they
that's-
do not alert you because last year we actually had to do some catching up
yes,
because the person that was doing it before hadn't done it, or Till took care of it. Till was our lifelong secretary. She resigned from the secretarial, and so we didn't know what we were doing. So we finally figured it out.
right.
But yeah, you've got to keep on that.
And another thing that, a little known fact, is that the secretary has to submit all of the distinguished member and all of that information. So there will be, where does that form come from, Mary? The distinguished member, is it on the district?
We will have it's on our website
Okay.
under distinguished criteria, and I'm going to be going over that in just a minute.
Okay, great.
And with Kiwanis International, well, let's just go on and get to that, and then we can talk about it then. And here we are. One of the things that we've decided for 2021, we have a distinguished club guidelines, and everybody gets sent a copy of the guidelines, and that'll be going out. It's out right now for 1920. So 1920, you would go out on the website and find that form, fill it out, and then send it back to me. And generally, it needs to be back in by November the 30th. And it states that clubs have to have a membership increase of 1. That's for 1920. And then a lot of it's the same. They have to have, I'm going to go to the next page because this will remind me. They have to have sponsored or co-sponsored a new Kiwanis club or a service leadership program. The secretary and the president have to have attended leadership training, which is very important, and we're really glad you guys are here today. The club was represented by a member at one of the following, either the midwinter education days, the district convention, or the international convention. And this year it's going to be kind of hairy because we only had education days, and so we may have to forego that one.
Well, that'll be
Yeah.
for next year, though. So in 21.
No. This is for next year, but even for this year, that's a requirement for this year.
Yeah. Okay.
Now for next year, what makes this all different? I'm going to go back to the previous slide. We decided to put a little bit more skin in the game and really make an impact. Distinguished clubs are really going to make an impact because they're going to have to meet these first 2 goals. The first goal is to have a net increase in membership of 2 or more members. So when you pay your invoice, it has to be 2 or more members from what you paid last year. So that is a net, because if you lose members, you want to make sure you have plenty of people to take their place. So we want 2. We think that it's very important. Membership is too important right now that we've got to put an emphasis on it. And then to help that club have two, it's very important that they appoint a membership and a public relations chair. They have to have both of those chairs, which are already required by Kiwanis International. When you fill out your election report, you need a membership chair and a public relations chair. So those people are the ones that help you gain your membership and get the word out about your club. And so the rest of them are the same. As I said earlier, you have to sponsor a new Kiwanis club or a service project, and you only have to meet 5 of these 6 criteria. Of course, the president, secretary attending training, and then did they represent a member at any of the education days and conventions? Did the club provide service projects or programs for children in the community? And we just want to know what that is. Did the club support the Eliminate Project or Kiwanis International Foundation? And did the club sponsor a service leadership program or contribute to the district's outreach fund? And contribute to at least one of the following: the Earl Collins Foundation, Foundation for the Beatrice Johnson Kiwanis Youth Camp, or Key Leader. So that's what clubs are going to have to go through next year in order to be considered distinguished. So as we go on to the foundations, we have a number of foundations that are covered, and I'm going to go through them, and then I'm going to let Barbara tell you more about Earl Collins if she wants to. Earl Collins Foundation is actually our giving side of Missouri, Arkansas. Just like the Children's Fund is for Kiwanis International, Earl Collins is for the Missouri, Arkansas district. And they give out annual scholarships to each division. They make donations to the district SLPs. They are putting money every year towards a headquarters structure at Beatrice Johnson Camp. I think that's in the tune of $25,000 a year. And $500 grants for SLP projects. And there's a trustee from each division that serves on that board, and they just had a meeting this past Saturday via Zoom while we had our board meeting. Barbara, did you want to say anything else about Earl Collins?
No, that you covered it very well. One thing I would like to ask you all is, if you have a service leadership club that you sponsor, and your schools are going back virtually, contact them, because a lot of them are going to have virtual extracurricular activities. And if there's anybody that's good at that, it's Key Club. So.
Could we mention the Zimmerman Award and the Les Mesa Award?
Yeah.
You know what? Those weren't listed on that previous.
Yeah.
That previous slide, Paul. I'm sorry, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, we should have put them there. Yeah.
Yeah, we do have 2 other awards, and as we go back to the member recognition, we do have the Les May Fellowship, which is $150 through Earl Collins Foundation. And the Zimmerman Award is also through Earl Collins. Is that correct?
Yes, and it's $1,000. And it like the Hickson and the Zeller consist of a pendant, a pin, and
that's right,
a certificate. And the Les Mace Award is a plaque. And so it's not very much more than plaques cost at a plaque store, and it's engraved, and you can put on it who you're honoring and what they've done, but it also is a Les Mace Fellowship. So it's a signed, it's a numbered award, and there will always be a record that whoever you gave that to was awarded that fellowship on behalf of your club. So it's a legacy that you're leaving, as well as giving a plaque.
That's great. And Earl Collins Foundation provides a lot of good things, and we really are appreciative to have them in Missouri, Arkansas. Our other 501c3 in Missouri, Arkansas is the Beatrice Johnson Kiwanis Youth Camp Foundation. And that is a 160-acre camp in Arkansas that was donated to us by Beatrice Johnson, and it is being developed as we speak to a really a nature camp. It's a beautiful piece of property that they've put up a pavilion. They have running water now. We have electricity. You don't know how long that's been. We're really excited about that. And there are camping pods that Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, any kind of youth groups or whatever that like to go out and do camping in tents, this is available for them. And the one thing that is astounding to me is it's free of charge. They just have to make reservations and make sure that it is available at that time. But the Earl Collins Foundation is working to provide them with a building, and they're working on that, and it's just really coming along. We're really, really pleased at how this camp is coming. So that is an opportunity to donate and to support our Missouri-Arkansas foundations. The other foundation is one that's been around for a while. It actually started it's in the St. Louis area, and it actually started as an interclub group, and it finally grew to the Kiwanis Gateway Foundation. And it is a 501c3 that really serves all of the Kiwanis clubs in Region 4. The trustee is generally the person that kind of oversees the Gateway Foundation. And they provide scholarships. They provide some different things to the area communities. And it's a chance if they have a fundraiser, they can actually use the foundation as their 501c3. It's really a great opportunity for the people in the St. Louis area. And then there's more info on all three of those on the Missouri-Arkansas website. So as we talked about foundations, and we're going to talk a little bit about the giving guidelines. Every year, Missouri-Arkansas asks clubs to consider donating to the different foundations and youth funds that we support in our budget. And we ask every club to budget $20 a member. And of that $20, $5 per member would go to the Earl Collins Foundation. And all the clubs get a copy of this, and there actually is out on the website this giving guidelines. Must be 7 o'clock, huh, Barb?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought my earbuds would mask that. I'm sorry. I should have muted.
It's all right.
I'm going to mute.
Anyway, $5 a member goes to the Earl Collins Foundation. $5 a member goes to the Outreach Fund. And the Outreach Fund supports our SLPs. And that amount of money is divided equally between Key Leader, Key Club, Circle K, and the Beatrice Johnson Foundation. And then the Children's Fund, of course, we hope everybody gives to the Children's Fund. And that's $10 a member would go to them. And the form that I have that's out on the web lists all of these addresses, but if anybody needs them, feel free to contact me and I will let you know. And that's all I have. Barbara, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, now's the wrong time to mute. So this is our worldwide service project, and it is Eliminate. And in 2010, we agreed at the Kiwanis International Convention to embark upon the Eliminate project. Eliminate means that we were going to eliminate maternal and neonatal tetanus that was epidemic in over 60 countries. And maternal and neonatal tetanus is something we're not familiar with because we tend to get tetanus shots. But in third world countries, that was not available to them. And over 60,000 mothers and babies died every year because of a variety of reasons. One, that the babies were born in non-sterile conditions. Often something like a bamboo stick was used to cut the umbilical cord, and tetanus germs are everywhere. They're in the soil, they're in growing things, and so that would, tetanus would infect both the mother and child, and often they would both die, which has devastating effects in a third world nation because the mother tends to keep the family together. So we started, and our goal was to raise $110 million. In Missouri, our goal was 1.8 million, I believe.
Yes, 1.8 million.
1.8 million. So this is a map of the world showing the 12 countries in which maternal and neonatal tetanus is not eliminated and that we're still working on. The countries that are white were eliminated before 2000. Before Kiwanis got involved in it, there was funding from the Gates Foundation and also from Johnson & Johnson. Every package of Pampers that you bought sent some money to this, but Kiwanis was asked to join this effort to fast forward the elimination. And so since we became involved, we have eliminated in all but 12 countries. And this is a map. Okay, next slide. And this kind of tells what I was hoping I remembered. We almost have completed our pledge of 1.8 million. We need 50,000 to reach our goal. You can encourage your clubs and individual members to make gifts of any amount to the Kiwanis Children's Fund designated for Eliminate. So we only need 50,000 when we've already raised all but that amount of the 1.8 million, which is really kind of amazing. If you have key clubs, you can encourage them to trick or treat for UNICEF and send their funds in through the Kiwanis Children's Fund. Some schools will allow students to trick or treat at the school, but since they're not in session, I'm not sure how this is going to work. And I don't know that kids will be trick or treating, but if they want to donate money for trick or treat, they might do, Key Club members are so creative. They might do a GoFundMe or some kind of Facebook or other social media where there's a button and people can donate. The district has matching funds available for those who would like to give a Zeller Fellowship gift, which is $1,250. You give $1,000, and the district adds the $250. And I wear most of the time a Zeller Award, and I don't know if you can see me, if you can see it, but that's what it looks like. And I like the looks of it, but also it's big and it attracts people's attention. And often, almost always, when I used to fly, which I don't now, the stewardesses loved this, and they'd always ask me what it was, and that gave me the opportunity to talk about the Zeller Fellowship. And actually, I've not been able to sign up any stewardesses, but I have signed up people based on they're so taken by this story that we are making that much of a difference. And really, it only cost $1.80 to vaccinate a woman of childbearing age, which protects her and all of her children passively for 6 months. So if you're interested, and it is something that, at least it makes me feel good every day. After I make mistakes all day, I think, well, at least I donated some money and I saved a life, you know? So there is the information on how to contact our District Eliminate advocate. There's also, that information is also on the website. Is that correct, Paul?
Did we lose Paul?
Yes, it is.
It is on the website, but if you want to copy that down. So that concludes my presentation, but I just wanted to thank you all for being on and for stepping up to lead, because it takes a lot of energy and time to be a club leader, and the club's where we make a difference. That's where we see the children that we're helping and see the families, are even in the non-touch giving. My club supports 2 foster homes, and we provided them food because they weren't going to school and getting free and reduced lunch. And we got an amazing, amazing picture of all the kids with thank you notes. So those days.
Shoot. I'm always hitting the wrong button and I end up putting myself on airplane mode. I so apologize. I've been trying to do print screen and it does that airplane mode. So trying to take a picture.
While you're doing that, I want to ask John Buckwalter if he wants to say anything about Earl Collins.
I unmuted everybody.
Oh,
Not really. I mean, the applications packets will be coming out within the next 2 weeks. They'll go to the trustees for each of the divisions, the Earl Collins trustee, who will then get them down to the club presidents. And so the challenge this year is trying to figure out how to get the applications to a person at a school.
And that's the scholarships, right?
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask at this time?
I just have, this is Bonnie. I just have
Hi, Bonnie.
one question. Hi. I thought when I talked to the Children's Fund that the woman I talked to said Eliminate was going to end at the end of 2020 and that the Zeller may not be available after that. Is that all correct?
Do you know, Barb?
I don't know the answer to that.
I know that they're trying to end Eliminate, but there's still money out there to bring in. And as far as I know, Roger didn't say anything about that over the weekend. So I'm going to guess that that's not the case. They may carry that on a little bit longer.
Right. I think what I've been told, Bonnie, is that they have a stock of Zellers, but they're not ordering any more.
I see.
I don't know if that, and you know, that could change if there was a big demand for Zellers in return for donations. They might go ahead and order some more. But
we still have the money now, Bonnie, if you want to buy one.
Right.
Oh, I do have one. I have the Mother's Day Zeller.
Oh, nice.
Good.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions? Well, I really appreciate you all being on the call, and I appreciate Paul and Barbara leading this for us. Rebecca, how are you? I haven't seen you since the Education Day. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
I am here every day. I may not get back to you as quick as I want to, but I'm here. If anybody needs me, feel free to give me a call. I think everybody has my number, and if you don't, I'm sure you can find it. But Barbara's available, and she's a wealth of information. And Paul is on the ball when it comes to the websites and with the education. He has a lot of information. So if anybody needs anything from the three of us, you know, we're definitely here to help you out, and wish you all the luck in your year. Gary, I guess you got to keep being president till you get it right, huh?
One more year. One more year. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for all you guys do. I appreciate all the leadership. I appreciate all the presidents. They're the ones that really make the organization happen,
Yeah.
Barb. They really are.
That's for sure true. That is for sure true.
Right.
There you go.
Well, thank you all. We got done a little earlier. We weren't sure how long this was going to go, but hey, your evening's not over yet. So
Great.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you
look
all.
forward to seeing you all
Bye-bye.
at some time in the future.
yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
All righty.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.